Hi everyone, I'm back with another manga haul. It's been a while, but this will wrap up the month of March. There's a good mix of manga in here from shoujo to shonen and some older series and ones that are more current, so let's get right into it. First series is Zettai Kareshi by Yu Watase. I read this a long time ago and had it on my list to collect for a while. It's a 6-volume series, so not at all a huge commitment to collect. I wanted to reread it, and with the recent one-day sale on Barnes & Noble, I went ahead and bought all 6. But I am missing volume 2 here because that won't be coming in the mail until later this week. But this centers around Riko Izawa, who doesn't have much luck in love, and her love confessions often get rejected. One day she encounters Gaku Namikiri, who tries to sell her on this realistic life-size robot doll from the Nightly series 01. Night Tenjo, the name of the doll, is given to Riko under a trial to essentially play the role as a best boyfriend, but she forgets to return him to Gaku after the trial period, so I think she either owes him 100 million yen or can agree to serve as a beta tester of this doll series. So she agrees to be the beta tester, but then I guess begins to have feelings for Night. It was such an interesting premise when it first came out in the early mid-2000s. And of course, Yu Watase's classic Bishonen characters are hard to say no to. But because it's been so long since I've read it, I've forgotten a lot of the things that happen in the middle of the series, and so I'm definitely looking forward to getting blasted back to the past with this one. Next is Arakawa Under the Bridge, Volume 1 by Hikaru Nakamura. These are printed in 8 omnibuses by Vertical, and from what I've heard about this series, it takes you for quite a strange ride. It centers around Ko Ichinomiya, who has a run-in with Nino, a homeless woman, and she claims that she's from Venus and lives by the Arakawa River alongside a whole host of interesting characters. Ko finds himself indebted to Nino, and in exchange, she asks him to teach her about love. From the reviews I've read, there's a lot of humor in this one that may or may not be for everyone, so I wanted to give this a try. It's pretty out there in how the synopsis is presented that it made me curious how the mangaka plans on pushing this premise along. Next is Barakamon by Satsuki Yoshino, published by, unfortunately, Yen Press. If you know anything about this 18-volume series, you'll know that it's so hard to get because Yen Press decided to put this out of print some time ago. So what I have are volumes 1 to 5, which I had gotten secondhand, luckily enough, for a little less than retail price. I do have other volumes ordered that were easier to get, but there are still a handful of other volumes that are taking all my researching brain power to find at a price that won't run my wallet into the ground more than it already has. So I'm just gonna put this out there in case anyone happens to know, but I'm really trying to find volume 15. So if you happen to have any leads on a volume 15 for Barakamon that's not in German or French, that would be really great if you could let me know. But anyways, this series centers around Seishu Handa, who's known for his calligraphy work, but his pride gets the better of him, which leads him to be sent, or I guess banished, to a village where he intends to just be immersed in calligraphy. In the house he ends up staying at, he meets Naru Kotoishi and other children and neighbors that add to his dynamic experience as he focuses on calligraphy and just goes through daily life. You already know I have a weakness for slice of life stories, and this one is no exception. The character development, I love it all. I especially love the art, and like I'm just so eager to get more volumes. Next series is Blue Period Volume 6, which I had gotten from a pre-order. This is to continue my collection so far, as I do have volumes 1 to 5. I'm in the middle of reading Volume 1, and if you didn't already know, it centers around Yatora and his art journey, what that means to him, and his goals in life. I love series that are thought-provoking and deep, so I'm sure I'm going to follow this series through to the end, especially since I'm an artist myself. I'm sure there's a lot I'll learn from this manga and this manga series in general. If you're reading this series too, let me know what you think about it so far. Next is Hatsu Haru, Volumes 2 and 3. I'm just casually reading and collecting this one, even though it's been completed for a while at a total of 13 volumes. It's your typical shoujo. Kai, the male lead, who's popular with the girls in school, realizes he may like the tomboy in their class, Riko, an opposites attract kind of scenario. I do like how there's some focus on the male character, since oftentimes with shoujos, it'll just have the female's perspective. I haven't started reading these 2 volumes, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the characters develop. Next is Spectre, Volumes 2, 3, and 4. I'm also casually collecting this one because while I did really enjoy reading Volume 1, I'm not entirely sold on the series, and this might be a weird reason why, but Kuro Sakuragawa, the male character, kind of looks strange on these covers. Like, I love the Volume 1 cover, and it's what really convinced me to start the series. The art in the volumes themselves is great, but I don't know. Anyways, I did have a question the last time I mentioned this series. Is this considered an isekai? Kotoko does get taken into another world, and there's that whole fantasy aspect to this, but I wasn't sure if people categorize it as an isekai. If you are reading this, let me know in the comments below on your thoughts, but I was drawn to the relationship of the 2 main characters, and just curious how Kuro's ex-girlfriend plays into their partnership of solving these supernatural issues, since she does make an appearance again in Volume 1, so that's kind of the reason why I had picked up some more volumes. Next is Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting to get this volume since January. I was supposed to have gotten a replacement copy from Right Stuff, but ended up just getting this in store at Barnes & Noble because as soon as I heard it was restocked, I got impatient. I read this volume, and currently I'm on Volume 4. Having seen the anime first, the anime has definitely followed true to the manga so far, which is great. I'm super excited to finally be able to continue reading this series. But by the way, did any of you watch the movie Zero yet? I watched it a couple weeks ago and really loved it. I did read Volume 0 already, so it was an extra treat to see it animated on the big screen. The fighting scenes were that much more epic, and it made me love Yuta Okotsu so much more. I'm actually going to insert a clip on something I just got in the mail. I wasn't able to get the special 0.5 volume that they were giving out in theaters, so I ordered it through eBay from someone in Japan, and it came with a special sticker as well. It's such a cool mini volume with some info on the seiyus and some extra content and sketches towards the end. Megumi Ogata as the seiyu for Yuta Okotsu is absolute perfection as a voice actress who's voiced some amazing male characters like Yukito and Yue from Cardcaptor Sakura, Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho, Hanako-kun, like hello. Anyways, let's just move on before I make this about voice acting. Next series is Kaguya-sama, and the volumes I recently got are 4, 5, 6, and 8. I'm waiting for a couple volumes in between to get shipped, so I'll eventually have volumes 1 to 10. I think I'll pause at volume 10 and read all of those before trying to collect any more volumes, and maybe by then a lot of the out-of-stock volumes will be available. I haven't watched the anime and want to start reading first before I do, but I did read volume 1 and really enjoying the dynamic relationship between the main characters and the whole premise of who's going to give in first. I don't know if I'll be able to catch up to where the series is currently, but I'm looking forward to continuing on at the pace that I'm at. I was on the fence on getting this next series, again, weirdly enough, because of the covers. But I did pick up volumes 1 to 9 of Everyone's Getting Married because I'm sure I'll enjoy reading this. I am missing volumes 2 and 3, which will be coming in with my volume 2 of Zettai Kareshi later this week. But this is a josei by Izumi Miyazono and centers around Asuka, who dreams of getting married and living that life, but suddenly finds herself single after her boyfriend of 5 years breaks up with her. Not to get all personal, but this series is already speaking to me on another level. I'm kidding. But anyways, Asuka meets Nanami Ryu, who seems the perfect fit but is opposed to marriage. And therein lies the conflict that I'm assuming will shift somehow within these 9 volumes, if these covers are any indication of that. Spoiler warning, I guess. I kind of don't like how some mangas do this, where they make it easy to assume major plot points, but anyways, still excited to read this one. Next is Nana, volumes 3, 5, and 21. It seems like Viz is slowly reprinting this, and I'm going to follow along and collect each single volume as they come in stock. I don't think volume 2 will be available for quite some time, but I'm just glad that these early volumes were in stock and not random ones in the middle. Although volume 21 showed up when volume 1 started to flood the market, but it kind of bookends the series since that's where it stopped before going on hiatus. But anyways, I've read the first volume, and I have to say that this series is more like a josei than a shoujo. I love how both Nana's stories are set up, which I'll probably end up having to reread since these ones will be unread for a little while until more volumes are reprinted. The collecting journey for Nana will be a long one, so strap in. I just got on the bandwagon for this, and that's Solo Leveling volumes 1 to 3. This is a manhwa that was originally a web novel series that turned into a webtoon and now here in this book format. The art is by Dubu and story by Chugong. I saw this a while ago in a promo email from Right Stuff when they're having a sale for Solo Leveling, and always thought, wow, the art is gorgeous, and I mean, just look at him. It's in full color, and you get this kind of quality for the entire book, which is amazing. I believe it's a power fantasy adventure story centered around Sung Jin-bu, who undergoes a training program to enhance his ability as a quote-unquote hunter to combat these monsters. He kind of starts off as a low rank, but is determined to get out of the stigma of being known as the world's weakest. I was curious what the hype is about, so decided to pick it up. Okay, so maybe I set my own bad habit of potentially dismissing series because of covers, but this next series is Takane and Hana, and I have volumes 9, 10, 17, and the limited edition volume 18 that has some extra content and story. I almost didn't pick up this series because the cover arts didn't appeal to me, but after hearing about it and getting a few suggestions to read it, I took the plunge. And actually the overall manga art is really nice, and it just has a few quirks here and there in my opinion. The spines are also really pretty colors. But I can't read these since besides these 4 volumes, I still only have volume 1. But after all the laughter I had with reading that volume 1, I went online and quickly ordered the rest of the series. It centers around Takane and Hana, who start off in a kind of botched arranged marriage situation, but as they get to know each other, they begin to show interest. It's another polar opposites who come together, but the character personalities make this a super fun read. Next is Those Not So Sweet Boys by Yoko Nigiri, who is the same mangaka for Love and Focus. I was hesitant about picking this one up because I had read Love and Focus and it was okay to me. I decided to give this one a try because I was seeing it everywhere, and so I have volumes 1 and 2 here. It centers around Midori Nanami, who has a run-in with Rei Ichijo, a classmate of hers. Rei, alongside a couple of his friends, stop showing up to school and become shrouded in rumors. In an agreement with the school chairman, Midori finds herself either having to quit a job she's technically not supposed to have, or to find a way to have Rei and his friends come back to school. I have no idea what kind of rumors these are or what these group of guys are up to, but it can't be something too shady, right? I mean, these covers are so light and airy and don't seem too dramatic at all. But because I have no concept as to what this is ultimately about, it's made me curious to find out. And lastly, I started to collect Toilet Bound Hanako-kun by Ito Aida, published by Yen Press. I think Yen Press publishes series with some really great cover art and spines, so these look great on the shelf. But I have volumes 0 to 3, 5, and 6. I haven't started reading this yet, but based on the synopsis from my anime list, it's a supernatural shonen series surrounding the mysterious legend of Hanako-san, who is said to grant the wish of her summoner. Nene Yashiro, a student at the high school, summons Hanako-san, but turns out to be a Hanako-kun, a boy. Their fates get bound together as they tackle the school's 7 mysteries. The art is stunning, and I'm excited to join the club that adores this series and see what these mysteries are all about. If you'd like to see the other manga I had gotten through the month of March, you can click the playlist to the left, as I did 2 other videos with a bunch of other volumes. But I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me while I showed you everything I had just recently gotten. As always, I'd really appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care!